So we've got a couple more guitars come in for David today. One of them is another Rally, but this one is, yes, you guessed it, it looks like it's come all the way from AliExpress. Are you ready? This is bought, I think, to be played at a wedding, at his wedding. So this should be fun. Creak! Oh my God. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, look at that. All the way from deepest, darkest China. Transparent SG. Yes, look at this. Oh, not only is it an SG, of course, is it lights up. Ah! Check it out, Claire. Dun, dun, dun.
News.
Phew. Yes, SG. Well, this is going to be interesting. That has got to be it's got a Gibson style open book headstock. Horrible plastic nut. Oh my God. Let's see what we have here. Oh my word. Well, if you ever had any worries about your SG being head heavy, you won't with this one. This is a weighty piece of guitar with a maple neck and some sort of, well, it's quite nice looking, but it's not rosewood, whatever it is, the Chinese version. Yes, we shall just see. Now, what David wants me to do with this is he wants silver. It's very particular. So all of this hardware, including the pickups, are going to go, and it's going to be silver. So silver humbuckers, probably Wilkinson's, I reckon, for the bang for buck. We'll put a roller bridge on, jack and three-way switch, screws and whatnot, and tuners, which would probably be fairly horrible, you can expect, but wow. Oh God. Now David is a big lad, so he's a rugby player, so the weight of this thing won't bother him, but let us get out I can feel the sharpness of the frets already. Let us get out. Neat. Let us get out the weighing device. I've only got one hand, so I'm going to point you at the ceiling. It's not very well thought through, is it? Oh, maybe I've got a, hold on.
Do you need it with that?
No, it's all right. I'm going to use this thing here. Oh, yeah. This is a light thing that Adam gave me a while back. A USB powered ring light for obviously my vlogging universe. So, let's see. What, you want to have a guess on this? Guess on the acrylic weight, Claire.
Oh gosh,
Kilos. Oh crap, this ain't working.
3, 2.5.
The batteries are conked.
3 kilos?
Well, nothing at the moment. Have we got any more of these CR25 batteries?
I have no idea what you mean.
Now it's working.
What are they?
Call it for how many? What did you say? Kilos. Let's go for kilos. Wow.
3?
4.8.
No way.
Yeah. So let's do that in pounds, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Switch off. Switch on. Ready pounds. About 10 pounds, I think. And the rest.
Babies.
Yeah, not bad. 10.5 pounds.
Is that heavier than your oak casters?
Yes. So, I was going to say, well, let's just try it. There's a nail falling out of that packaging. That's not very good. So I've got one here that I make. Oh, blimey.
Oh no.
Yeah, hold on. I'll try this one now. So that was £10, right?
You're never going to keep fingerprints off that,
No.
are you?
Right, let's try this one. This was just an experiment. Oh, it's about the same. Oh no, it's more.
Is it?
Yeah. £11.
Yeah,
But that was,
you don't expect wood to be
yeah,
heavy.
that was because I made it out of solid eccy. And I didn't think there would be any guitar in the universe that heavy.
It's quite nice in a
What did I say? £10.5.
what's the word? How do you put it? In a
Trashy.
tacky. Yes.
Oh, the frets are terrible. Feel those.
Sharp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I dare not put my leg up, they'll fall off. Well, currently a terrible action, but we may be able to cure that. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm blinded by the light. I bet it's fun to play on stage.
Oh, I'm sure.
The only thing is, what happens when the bulbs go?
You put the battery in the back.
Oh. I see.
Yeah, no problems there. They should have a little thing that you press it and it goes into a pattern. Bloody hell, that's bright.
I know. I thought it should go round the edge so you've got the guitar shape.
Yeah, it sort of does if you look at the...
Gosh,
shines-
it's beautiful.
shines through.
Yeah, that's lovely. It's
Lovely.
like our car.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we can make it work. Not bad. Not very good access up here though.
What kind of price was it?
250, something like that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's a bolt-on. It doesn't have the neck access that a glued-in SG has, so you really can't get to these frets very well at all.
But you probably wouldn't need to.
No, you might not need to. Very sharp and horrible. There you go. So that's going to be in the workshop, replacing all the hardware with silver chrome, and making it play.
How do they pour this without getting bubbles in it?
I don't know. It's pretty good, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, and then you can see the routing. For once, the routing's good for a Chinese-made guitar. It's actually quite good. You know, they'd had to do
Probably
it well.
easier with this as well, though.
Well, the wooden ones, the ones they make from AliExpress in wood, usually look quite ragged, or can often look ragged. Chinese,
Yeah,
what's a
because
Jewish one?
it's a different.
Same principle of. Oh, that's interesting. A little drill hole there for why? No reason why. And there's a little drill holes through there. Why? Because something's come through. Why are those little extensions? Something to do with the manufacturing, obviously. But why do they stick out? You have to drill through. Why did you do that? That's weird. Got to work that out because that's bugging me. Anyway, there we go. An acrylic SG. Sorry about that. Look at that. Would you look at that? Perhaps I should lay this down. Lay it down. 1 second. Look out the window for a minute. Puts down towel. Grunts. Puts down. See, it doesn't look so good when it's like that. But anyway, so there we have it. What I'm wondering is what these things are. You see those? I've got to figure out. They're drill holes, obviously, coming through that way. But why did you have to have them? There's one for every... No, there isn't one for every... I thought there's one for every pot, but there isn't. There's one for every component there. Not one for there, but one for there. So why? Who knows? Anyway, We shall figure it out because it's a mystery, and there's another one under there too. Well, no reason why it shouldn't set up and play well, even though, you know, these are horribly sharp and nasty to begin with. So, adjustable tusk nut, new tuners, new Wilkinson pickups, chrome screws. That looks really odd. Jack strap button on the back of there. That's weird. Yeah, chrome. Yeah, good fun. Of course, that's where the lights go through, the LEDs, look. So they stick out on the body. They stick out in each of these little sticky outy bits, and obviously not there, which is incredibly bright. So you can see them in all of their little sticky out glories. And that's of course what gives it the edge glow, which is pretty substantial, I have to say. It's a good, they've thought about where to place it to get it to really light up. So this yeah, this will be a beast of a player when I've got it done, but it's not for the faintest hearted. It's also almost ready for a reloved logo on there, but we don't want to do that because then I'll get sued by Gibson for the headstock shape, which is, you know, a bit of a naughty one, but hellfire, people do it. Here we are. We'll have a close-up look in a minute. This is David's resin monster SG. Oh, we're going to be replacing everything we can, which may be more challenging than I think. So 1 second. The first thing I'm going to do is let's have a listen to it if we can. So let's put it. We've got the heater running, so it's a bit noisy. Just arrived up here on a rainy, thoroughly miserable rainy Saturday evening. So this is 10 3/4 pounds of AliExpress SG. So I'm not trusting the strap or the strap locks or anything under this with this sort of weight. Oh, that's unbelievable. How have they managed that? How can you do that with a 10 3/4 pound guitar? How could you possibly manage to create something that's head heavy? I mean, what's this made of? Well, I'll tell you why it is. It's where they've put where they've put the jack socket, which is a ridiculous place. I'll show you up close in a minute. But meanwhile, sorry, dust on my glasses now. Let's turn this off. Let's just start with everything cleanish. Not really. You know, this absolutely has to be here to make it work, but they've wimped out and put it there instead. Sorry to say. They could even have drilled it through and put it on this back plate here, which would have been better. Still could be done actually, but honestly, that's terrible. That really is terrible. And that would be ugly because you'll still be left with a hole. Let's get the tune up for a minute. Well, first of all, straight away, this is very low powered. God, I dare not let go of it because it's going to drop. this is... Ugh. Horrible so far. Oh. Whoa. Ooh. Oh, microphonic. Ugh. That is spectacularly horrible. I don't say that about many things. Honestly, I don't. That's diabolically bad. So we'll get let's do some fly arounds. So we can see straight away some of the problems here. Let's go back into a sort of standardy zoom. Right. So what have we got? We have got a great lump of perspex, PVC, vinyl, whatever it's called, resin, and we've got a socket that's there, a strap button that's there, which makes it completely top heavy, where it could at least be here. We may have to try and make another one because that's just unworkable, but I'll check with David. We've got, you know, a fairish headstock shape. We've got gold bits and pieces. We've got frets that are sharp as hell, decent coloured fingerboard, whatever it is. Crappy microphonic pickups. I'm worried about the intonation on this bridge. Didn't even feel like the right length at the moment. So one of the things I'm going to need to do very quickly, I think, a bit of a zoom out. Sorry, it's not the most exciting shot, but let's just double check the length, scale length here that we're working to. Oops, sorry. That we're working to, because if this, of course, doesn't even pan out, we're on a sort of loser. Oh, yeah. Oh God. Oh Lord. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, I'm just going to put a little mark on here. We could be in trouble with this, which is not what you want to find out. Now, I think the thing with this is it has come from AliExpress, I believe, and if it doesn't play, or if it's got some fundamental problems like this appears to have, then I think the problem we've got will be straight off. Can you even get a refund or send it back? We might just get away with the intonation. We might just. So let's zoom you up on this, and you can see what I'm on about. Oh, zoom in a bit anyway. So quick measurement. It's a 628mm scale. So that's where the 628 lands on that black mark there. So we've got to be able to go backwards from there. Now, as it happens, the thing is the bridge is on a very slight slant anyway. So it might be that in terms of we might get enough room out of it, but it's very, very marginal, and so we'd have to be sure we could. Now the question is, can we do it with this thing on board? No, because there's not enough room really to get intonated without turning these saddles around. So I'm just going to get a sort of sense if even the way it's currently set up, it even is even capable of going close to where it has to be. I mean, this is all obviously without doing any modifications to it of any kind. So there we are, back as far as it will go. Ooh, these tunes are horrible. Maybe, let's just see. If we can just get it intonated there. The problem is that's meant to be the shortest of all strings. Sorry, the longest of all strings, and longest playing length. No, what am I talking about? It's meant to be the shortest, and so others have to go longer than that. But if that one's already jammed against the wall, there isn't really a lot of room for going anywhere else. Yeah, and that's intonated on the mark. Ooh, we will be struggling. I mean, yeah, that would be marginal. I guess we can check with this low E because it's facing, at least the saddle block is facing the correct way round, but I don't think we'll get very close with this. If we're not on with this low E right now, then the only chance we've got is if there's a little bit extra adjustment in the roller saddle that I bought. Right. Marginal. That's slightly too short still, so it really needs to intonate. That really needs a couple of millimeters further back in this direction, and frankly, Scarlett, it isn't really going to do it. Let me take a sort of picture of this, just so I can. What I don't want to have to do is stop now and consult and find out whether this is a keeper or not. The problem with this being, of course, is like I was kind of going to get at, is whether or not we could it can actually be sent back anyway. I'm not really convinced that AliExpress listens to subtle arguments such as, you have sold me a guitar that can't be intonated. I'm not really confident that they listen to that. Maybe, I don't know. Let's have a look. So this one here, put on there, the question is how much more room do we get? Now I suppose what I could do, I guess what I should do really before I do any more work now, is let's begin with, let's slack these off, let's replace the bridge very quickly, and let's see if we can make it intonate at all, because if it doesn't, then there's no point. It would be a great disappointment. I know there's bits of chrome falling off here. Oh, bling over substance. Right. Let's just get enough room to take the bridge off. Like I say, if I can't reach intonation with things, then we'll just have to accept it's a no-goer. And I think with being practical, I think then I will need to check with David about whether he wants to fight for the right to party to make this thing work. AliExpress. I mean, you know, I mean, truth is, once that there are the major problems about this. It's heavy, yes, but still could be a playable guitar. But why it's not playable? Because the neck is it's neck heavy, which means that it will constantly be falling forward. And as you saw with me just trying to hold it there, it makes playing it very, very tiring because you're constantly trying to support it and stop it swinging back down. So that's a real showstopper in my book. I'm trying to put these strings on, but they've come off. Yes, so unless we can, I mean, so there's, you know, we're intending to replace all the components anyway, because that's something David wanted to do. So it's not unexpected, and you know, for the sort of bling fun of it, he was, you know, that was his you know, idea to do that. However, it means we also need to move the strap button, and beyond that, we need to be able to intonate it. If it can't intonate, then we're fighting a losing battle, because and moving the bridge on this will be impossible. You know, it's drilled into resin, so come on. Right, so we have this bridge now currently at its maximum reach the other way. Let's put the tuner back on again. Let's get it to A. So in a way we've gone a funny way around this. What's going on here? Oh, it's missed the rollers, and so is that one. Gosh. Right. Okay, that's sort of nearly where we are. Try not to bust them. That one's missing the roller as well. Okay, that one's missing the roller as well. Now they're all on the rollers. Okay, so let's just try this E. We've got to get this E intonated. I'm not very encouraged by this. The action is a mile high as well. Oof. I'm going to lower this if I can, and see if I can get a better action just for this test, because beyond that, if I can't, then this is going to have to stop and we're going to have to rethink. That's a pity, because right, that's as low as it will currently set, which is now too low. Oh, that's all right, but let's go back up. That's all we care about at this end for a minute. Ugh, feels horrible. That is just about intonatable. Let's try it on the high E to see, confirm it. Okay, so those two are where they will need to be. So let's just have a quick check in on that. So there we have it. That's how badly positioned this bridge is, unfortunately. We are just intonated there, and we are starting at just about okay there. So everything is going to work between those 2 points. I can now attempt to set those, which I will do, just to be double sure, since we've got the things there, the bridge there, and the strings on. So okay, let's move these around. So I'm going to now spread the pattern now. Oh God, these are so hard to use. Spread the pattern around between all the saddles. These little screws never really want to work properly because they run into the way of the pickups, which, to be honest, since we're chucking out altogether, we can wind those at least out of the way. So yeah, first port of call was to examine it the other day straight out of the box and make sure there were no broken bits. On having discovered no broken bits, then the next question now becomes, is it playable realistically? Does it play in the sort of way that you'd want it to? And if the answer is yes, then we work onwards on it, and if the answer is no, it won't. So for example, there's the expected intonation pattern. We'll just double check this to be absolutely sure, because it's a go no go type of deal. Probably need to raise this just a fraction. So the issue here really is I'm not, we have to accept if it plays, it plays. Even if it only just plays, it's not great. We didn't really want it to be that close to the edge, but if it plays, it plays. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so that's double checked the intonation, so we can just make it work. But that is a bridge badly out of place, really, for the Chinese manufacturers, to be honest. And I'm just looking at the way it's now positioned. Feels like it's pulling the bridge back a little bit. It's okay, actually. It's not bad. All right. So kind of go no go decisions number one. That's the way it has to be. That's the only way it will play. The question about these drill holes here now is, can we put one in a place where it's actually going to work? And I suspect, oh God, it's heavy. I suspect possibly the best bet would be in there. And then we can have the peg there, which brings it to at least that close. A better one would be on the edge of the horn. Again, that is possible. It's a strong material. We need a flat spot on the end of here, which we'd have to file into the end of there. This is, I'll check with David, but this is a total no-go as far as holding it up. It's unworkable. And then we've got basically, let's get all these bits off. Now we're in the well, we're going to take everything off basically. So yeah, I think like I say, the decision's got to be one of, is it worth continuing. I mean, David's already basically invested in the parts to go in it to make it more playable. So, and that's going to be chrome everything. It may be that these things don't come out very well. They may be resined in for all I know, the bridge posts, but let's have a look what we've got in here. Crikey. I'd like to have a look at what we got in there if we can. Thank you. Yeah, nothing outrageously unusual. No shielding, but you can't really have shielding in there without messing up the colour. Yeah. Again, I mean, all that we're changing that is the wiring to the pots. Really, I'm not going to be replacing pots in this. Some people would say, well, you might as well. Could do. Depends on what I've got, but it would just add. I mean, it adds cost and time. That's the thing. So, what have we got? We have got a place where the neck strap button could go. We've got a place on there where it could go with a flat spot, just as long to get the drill in there and a long screw. We've got enough room, but what I don't know is how well these screw holes work, whether they actually, I don't know how you can see that, I don't know actually whether they wear very quickly and whether they need resining in again or some thread lock or something to hold them in place, but kind of don't want that if you can get away with it. But I do know for a fact that resin does not hold as well as doesn't hold as well as wood. Now we've got some little steps on here to bring the level up, but there's one missing from there, which I don't know why that is. Maybe it's floating around loose in here. I can't see it. Can you see those little stepped pieces just to lift up the lid? I think what they found was the lid sunk too far down, so they've raised it a little bit. But then we've got, maybe that's impressing at that end, and that's a convenient thing for you to get it open with. He said now having to, still doesn't really work, but anyway. So there's that. The tuners are horrible. They're going to go. We're obviously going to need to level the frets and do the ends. Adjustable nut, that will make it stay in tune, amongst other things. So it's doable. And there's your 9-volt battery to the LEDs. I don't think they do anything. There's no buttons to make them glitter or run around like Christmas lights. Yeah, right. Well, okay. Look, shall we? Maybe I should go off camera and give him a quick call and see what he's. I think that might be the smartest move. Let me try doing that and get a word back from him. I'll see you in a minute. And we're back. So, right. So, verdict from David is get on with it, and we'll do it. So no more talk about how crap AliExpress is, because we sort of know it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to set this up using the roller bridge, and we'll do fret leveling straight away as the very first thing of all. Only main reason being, oh God, because we've got strings on here and we might as well use that up. So I will slack everything off in order to put, actually, you know what I'll do? Oh God, that looks a bit grotty around there. Worries. I'll try and remove the nut as well without major damage, and we'll get the setup and the nut in place hopefully before we go any further, and then we'll just do the frets. So first thing I'm going to do is try and remove or loosen up this nut. So we're going to, the verdict on this is we're going to make it as good as we can, given that, what have I done here? I've done this the wrong way around. Agent. Why have I done this the wrong way around? What have I done? Right, let's get this the right way around. Sorry. There's the nut. There it is. So we're going to try and remove this without anything bad happening. But I can see there's quite a bit of glue going on here. So we sort of can half expect it to try and pull up some finish. I'm just doing my best to get that glue up. We'll do a little tap and we'll see if anything happens. If it doesn't want to come up, then we'll go to the emergency plan Z from outer space, which means cutting the nut off rather than tapping it. But so that's moving. What we have to check is how stuck it is and what they've, how much they've stuck it in with paint. You know, sometimes on the cheaper manufacturing, what you get is they spray so much finish on the front of this that when you remove the nut, it lifts up the finish with it because it's just attached basically. So this is moving now from there, but we don't know what's it stuck to. If there's black paint under there, it may well try and move. So as you can see, I'm just trying to get under here as much as possible. There we go. Ew, tons of glue and a bit of void. See, look, that's what they do. Brilliant. It's just a gallon of glue. Thanks, guys. Thanks, factory guys. Now what I've got here is I've got this little tiny flake which I will try and put back on when the time is right. In the meantime, we have got the replacement nut which is going to go there. Now it doesn't need to be quite as tall as this, so we may need to reduce it, but not by too much. But also we definitely need to at some point clean this down because it's very uneven. There's been so much glue shoved on there. It's China. There's absolute mountains of glue here. It wasn't even by the looks of it before they put the glue on, so it's just a river of glue. You can see they've glued all the way up the front. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see that. See that? Glued all the way up the front and all the way across the bottom, so it's surprising we even got it off. So there's going to be a bit of work to level this out and get rid of the glue. Should be able to do it, but just take a bit of work. We could start out, in fact we probably should start out with a lower base because that just makes life easier. If I can find one. Short stops. There would seem to be, there's a number 2, that would be a good start. Let's go over number 2. I must send one of these to Gerard to make me some more. Okay, so we're going from 3 to the 2. 3 to the 2, and we'll just have a quick look at how that seats height wise. That's probably about right. Actually, it may even still be a fraction high. Right, looking at the right side. Yeah, so it's not it's still too high. So it's not Epiphone style, it's a much lower affair than that. So I need to find one of the original number 1 pieces, if I can find them. And they live, oh god, next 19th, where did I put them? That's the question. Nut blanks. No, it's not in there, is it? What do we call them? Bases. Adjustable nut bases. Come on, man. Where are they? Is this a low one? No, threes, more threes. More threes. My problem, I have got some somewhere that's wasting time looking for them. Nut bases. Hello anyone. Nut base bridge saddles. Nut bases. Neck plates. No, that's not it. Oh, just nut bases. Goodness sakes. Right. Find me an ultra low one, please. That looks low. That looks pretty low. Line up. Yeah, okay. Is that as low as you can go? I think it probably is. Actually, no, that's about right. Okay, we'll go with the low one to begin with. So the important thing here is we'll take care of this black, little bit of black finish a bit later on, but the main thing is to get this nut base level. And that takes a bit of work. So I think we're going to find that's the story of this guitar. Everything takes a bit of work, and then we'll fit that nicely on there. Looking okay. We'll bring it in on both sides because it's a little bit bigger than it needs to be. So just aiming to get rid of this glue, anything that's obstructing the flush fit. So yeah, it's not a great join line here because they've spilt glue all over it in the past. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do to get this done is we'll get the sanding block up, and I will sand out. Let's use this one. I'm going to sand down this. Oh, what can you? Yeah, you can see that. I'm going to sand this down, and we're going to make it fit. So using the fairly rough 80 grit or 60 grit or whatever it is first, and then we're going to. It's just a matter of careful sanding, and if you've sort of done it a few times before, you get the feel for sanding it down till it's flush and the face is nice and flat. It's a bit dirty to begin with, but until we finally get it into the right thickness. And actually it doesn't matter if we take a little bit more off the face of the nut, as long as it's flush. That's the main thing we want, is the two faces to be flush, and then we can, once we get there, we can tidy it up or clean it up a bit with the lighter sandpaper like this, and then we have, still a bit dirty, but we have a flush face which I can just try on here, and that's nearly a good fit. We're just a little bit off the back here, and we can switch paper at some point as well if we need to get some cleaner. Actually, none of this is clean anymore, so we might, just for the sake of this, we might want to stick on a little bit of paper. What's this? 180. Okay, that will do. So we'll just get ourselves a clean bit, just for the purpose really of cleaning the nut up, and either do it on one or other of these things. Let's just do it there. Brought it back, thank goodness, my Gorilla Tape. Well, those of you who've watched my other recent videos might be wondering, why hasn't he talked about Ukraine and the end of the world? Probably because I've really been struggling to stay in any way, shape or form upbeat about the situation. It's really, never thought we'd be in this position, but sure enough we are, to my great dismay. And I think I was hearing Nick Abbott on LBC last night, sort of just heard him marvelling or being astonished that one single human being holds the fate of 7 billion other people in his hands. Well, the first thing about this nut slot is it's not actually flat. So I'm going to have to slightly adjust the angle on the bottom of this base to make it fit, which is, you shouldn't really have to do that, but because it's an inexpensive 3D printed component, I can afford to take off some material and see if we can get it to, you can't see this for a minute, but I just want it to lean forward into the right position. Yeah, it still needs to be tightened up. That's terrible. So towards the front it's got to be thinned down. So that's not even 90 degrees, that shelf. That's pretty pêche pure. So I'm doing my best to accommodate this, or sort of counter it, and end up with a base that sits flat even though the thing isn't flat. Well, that'll just about do, and it's just about at the right height, so we might actually live with that. I mean, really. So if I show you, well, maybe I can show you. Maybe I could show you. See how that slopes forward a bit? It gets thinner at this end, sorry, this front part than the back. That's because that's obtuse angle. Thanks very much. But I want it to sit there and rest assured. Now, I'm also feeling that this doesn't feel very flat either. There's a little bit of movement in there, but not much. Just a tiny bit. Maybe I'll do a tiny bit more. A wee bit more. Push away. Yes, so things don't normally get me down, but actually I think I've been pretty disheartened, and I found it actually. There you go. That's perfect. No rocking, and that's a crap slot, but a good workaround. Anyway, yeah, I don't. Things don't often demoralise me, but this has. Found it hard to get over. Right, what I'm going to do is, while I'm at it, I'm going to mark up these here frets, and we'll just go as we mean to go on. Yeah, so yeah, it's just cannot believe that we're in this place, and you know, there are a vast majority more people who don't want this to escalate than do, and yet, like so many things, it seems that our inverted commas, a lot of us have guilty of a sort of probably a general lack of engagement, or could even call it apathy, regarding politics. And certainly, you know, if you look at the local level, that's been my experience recently, is that everything that seems to go wrong in local politics is kind of mostly because the average person doesn't want to be involved, doesn't want to do the things that need doing, that they would need to do for it not to become corrupt. You know, everyone hates the corruption in politics, you know, including local politics, but too few people certainly in my area are involved, and so that politics seems to be left to, well, the decision making or making headway and progress is left to people with vested interests, which is really demoralising to realise. But it's the same. We can't quite understand how the average Russians have allowed themselves to be put back into this nearly virtual Soviet sort of state again. Look at this. You know, I've done this thing. These blasted SG people. Yeah, they've done the same thing. They've right, goes elsewhere, looks for a different piece of, what's this one? Acoustic, acoustic nut. Well, I know it's an acoustic nut. There's a Gibson, is there a Gibson one? Let's have a look. Yes, anyway, just astonished really at how it's got the way it has, and how Russians have allowed themselves, but then it's no different from how we've allowed ourselves to become an almost, well, you know, a culture in which you know, free speech is being severely curtailed. You know, and even the police powers over protesting, for example, have been sort of eroded away. Okay, these are all too wide. So now we've got another non-standard bloody nut, which is just what I don't need right now. Non-standard nuts. That one's just about the same as this, so that's hardly any difference. What was the spacing on this? Because that's going to pose me a great challenge. We've been here before with David's other SG, the Epiphone, and it was a very narrow neck. Okay, so this is really 34 millimeters. That's crazy, and this here is 35, but it's basically a fraction. Well, it probably was. Let's work with it for now. No, it's too close to the edge. Can't. We need. What are these? These are. So this is coming in at, if we can get a right measurement, about 36. There's 2 millimeters difference, and that's an absolute bugger. So we need a unusually narrow thing, which I don't. Okay, we've got 34 here. So here's a solution. Let's do something else. Yeah, let's do something else. We've already changed this one around to fit on here, but we can reuse it on something else that's more suitable. Thank you. Pings that off. So we had some things made up, some bases, converters that were like so, and we made these converters up. I made these converters. Gerard made these converters up so that we could use a nut like this with the correct radius and width, string width. So if we had a 34 spacing, which is just about that, we could start with this. Let's just see how this feels as a possible, because then we can tweak and tailor this end piece, and we can make it adjustable as well, should we need to do. That's actually sitting pretty well on there. So we won't have seen one of these coming into play before, but they are an interesting technology. So this gives us a bit more room. So sorry about this messing about. So that's still not going to be the best angle ever because of the slope on the shelf, but we'll still make it work. What I really just want to do at this point in time is make sure that the spacing is workable, and then we can convert and get this nut working, because this is a 12-inch radius nut. So that's almost there. So the issue now is mainly what about this thing would fall off the neck even with this spacing. So I'm slightly bothered by this. We may have to make a custom one altogether, which is a mega pain. That's going to extend everything. So that one is still too wide, so we need 34 or even slightly less. And it could be because they've put a very slopey what's-its on here, very slopey fret ends. Okay, so we've got a blank one here that we could use. Let's just have a think. And it's pre-radiused. Yeah, we could make a custom one, so I'm going to end up with loads of bits everywhere at the moment. So what colours? Everything else is black, isn't it? Let's go and grab this. There are other blanks that we could possibly use. So, brains. So that spacing is no good. That spacing is no good. What have we done before? We haven't got spacing. The problem is we haven't got the right spacing because everything's too bleeding wide. That's 48mm, that's 39, that's way too wide. That's 35, it's too wide. So we need 34. And if we were going to use one of these, we'd have to still use it in the booster, which is the wrong colour for a start. And it would go in there like that, and we would fix up the correct, what's the word I'm looking for? Correct radius. Which, you know what they've done with this? This isn't straight. It's tilted backwards. Oh God, that's what's wrong. This is actually tilted back. They've cut this front edge of this wrong. You've actually cut that wrong. So annoyingly, we're either going to make a complete new one out of a block of tusk, or we modify one. So why would we start with that? If we're going to waste one of those, we might as well begin with a block and do a full-size nut, which is mighty annoying. Question is, we've only got white blanks, but that's okay because we were going to do that anyway. There's a lefty, that's not going anywhere. Dust. So we could go from blank here. There's one here that's too narrow, but if we went for a full size one, we could go from here, and that would make a custom one. I think we might have to do that because I don't think I'm going to find a 34mm spacing anywhere, certainly not in a hurry. But this then becomes a bit of a pain. So first thing we have to do is we have to copy the spacing. That's assuming this actually worked like that. So one way of copying the spacing is to get these two bits together. So this is now starting to take up time. So let's just do something with this. I refuse to go backwards and use this plastic nut, but what I will use it for is for taking a guide of the spacing for the strings. I am assuming in that case that it works. Now yesterday I used this as a means to line up these things, but I may not get both of those in there. It's quite a good way of jamming these things together. I could do it with some tape possibly, but I could get these two things together and squeeze them together and then use one to mark the other, and then we have the width isn't far off, but that is so unstraight, it's unfunny. Okay, so what I'm going to do, sorry about how boring this is, I didn't intend to get stuck in this process. I'm going to line these two things up next to each other, and then I'm going to sort of start gently tightening them together, and then I'm going to try with that one in place, try and just push that one to the edge there. And what I want really is to lock them together so that I can run the files from this one onto that one, possibly even a bit lower down again. This is not really what this is meant for. I'm improvisating. Go to there, hold it tight, do it up. Hold it tight, do it up. Okay, so now I've got the two pieces next to each other at the right size. If I get me a thinnest of my, actually I don't need the thinnest one, I get all three of them and run. We'll go with the 10 first. Oh, actually, we'll go with the 10, yeah, come this way. So 10 is in there. So it's quite a good way of getting a start. The hardest bit of doing custom nuts, in my experience, is keeping the slots in the right place. What we don't want, and it's upside down, who cares? What we don't want is to end up digging too far down, because that's where they wander off. So there's the 13. Uh-huh, 17. It's difficult to keep them in a perpendicular straight line, even. That's very difficult. 13, no, not what am I doing now? I'm going to 26. Then we go to 36. And 46. So there we are, having copied the spacing, which is a sort of handy way to do it. But then what the aim would then be to do would be to end up making a nut that comes to this size. So we have to do a bit of a markup and some chopping. So there's our outside edge, like that, and then across there like that. So that's a straight cut. Now what we know about this one is that's too high, so we don't want all of this, but we can then take that down once we get it in place. So the first thing I'm going to do is to go away and cut this on the machine. I'm just looking at this. Are they straight enough for my liking? Most of them are. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's cut this down. Oh, everything's in the way. Thank you. So that's a huge, great chunk. And so, God, this isn't even flat here, it's crunchy. We'll eventually get there. So that was a shame that the adjustable nut won't do the thing. So we're going to go with a ready-made one. We're going to need to sand it down. I've obviously got the marks, so I'm going to choose what the front is, and I'm going to choose this as the front. I'm going to draw it on with a dot from the front, and I'm going to work off that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to shave the back down. Now I can do it one of two ways. I can either use the orbital sander, or I can just work it on this. Which is slow but fairly effective. So it's a pity to have to make a custom one, but this is an unusual. It's definitely an unusual size, and because of the slopiness on some guitars, you'd get away with it. Because of the slopiness on this, we really are a bit on the obliged to get it exactly right side of things, because there's no leeway, there's no wiggle room, I suppose you could call it. Okay, so now I've got a bit of a curve on there. I can now sort of roll some of this up. We get a bit of a curve on it. I mean, it's not critical, but I'm keeping the slots on top so I can easily continue the slots and have the strings sit where they're supposed to. I've done it. I've done the wrong side, haven't I? What an absolute plonker. Can you believe? I've just gone and done it back to front. Never mind. I'll make it work this way around. What a silly chap. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take most of that down, and I'm going to redo them because I've done them back to front. What a silly chap. That's my front, and that's the back. Let's put them. Sorry, this is just a bunch of excess hassle that you really don't want to get caught up in, and I probably make it a deal difficulter than it needs to be. Get in there, thank you. Right, let's line these up. I'm just going to remark, make sure I've got the right in the right places. So we want to line up there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Want them to be practically touching, like so. No, that's now wiggled too far. Get it tight. Okay, so we've got, should be a good grip. Right, so now we got the right way round now. We'll go back to our 46 and we will attempt to mark it up again. We'll go through the existing slots. That one, 36. 36, 26. Blah, 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 blah. 17. Oh, do you know what? back to front, aren't I? That's why it's not working the way I intended. I'm glad you all spotted my stupid mistake. What a silly bugger I am. Right, there's your things. I'm doing it back to front, but it'll work. Should put them in the same way, but that's all the spacing. Okay, there we go. Right, so next thing I've got to do is I need to shape this. Well, don't worry about that. We'll get it to the right, just about the right height first. So we'll see how much we need to take off, and we will go to about there, and we will draw a line along there, and that will be our cut-off point. Go and cut it off. Now don't forget, we're going to have to sand this thing at a strange angle as well, so it's going to be a little bit of hard work. So we've got the thin it down first of all to fit the slot. That's still too tall. We can check the measurements. So this has taken an absolute ton more time than I needed it to do. So we're 40 minutes in. 6:13, 5:80. So a bit more to go. Yes, so every day now I don't know where the world's going to be tomorrow. And I can't believe that I went through a childhood of being afraid of the atomic bomb, and it's these years later we're still not only still in that place, we're actually even closer to that place than we were at any point in my life, apart from obvious mistakes, which we've had revealed to us throughout the 70s and 80s. Okay, so this is nearly there. Like I say, next thing I'm going to need to do is to bring down the base or the height. I'm going to get it down to where it needs to be. Because now we're still about a mile, I would say, off. So it probably needs filing or even cutting. So let's just have a look. That is between there and there. That is 3.9 millimeters. 3.9 millimeters. 3.9, and we want it to be about 0.3. So we've got a couple of mils at least to take off there. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel angry, and I'm angry that greedy, unenlightened idiots have made this the way it is. That's what it feels like to me. Right, we've got a bit of a lean on this already, which is quite good, because we're going to need it. That's just by chance. Yeah, angry. Sounded some individual, a group of individuals doing the same crappy, greedy, violent, nasty things all those years. How did they end up doing this? Right, we're just about there, but we're too far back here, so... Problem with doing things like this is that if I get this wrong now, we'll be too low, and that may even be where we're heading any minute. But we've got to try. Nearly there, it's going to be up in the back, a little bit further back. What? Look at all the dust everywhere. Nearly there, but we're getting too low in the middle now. Yep. That's just ridiculous. Now we're too low. I want to give up. I want just a simple, easy thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Can I just have an easy peasy thing, please? Could I? Instead of this arsing around with something that's too wide. What I feel like doing. You know what I feel like doing. I feel like putting a zero thingies into that. Right, I'm going to stop this because I can't focus talking and doing this. Okay, had to have time away from the camera to think that one through. I've got a temporary nut working in there. I mean, it could be a permanent one. It'll do it. I've got to tidy it up a little bit, but it's doing the job. It's a lousy nut slot to begin with, I have to say, but I think it's doing its thing for the time being. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to do the fret leveling right now so I can feel like I've made some progress tonight, and what I will do is I'll look online for a 34mm nut for something like an SG, but it's got to be that small spacing, which is a bit unusual, and if it's, truth is, I really want it to be, what do I want it to be? I want it to be tusk. I don't really want a bone one or anything like that. So I'm just going to do a quick check on two things. First of all, the neck relief here. A little bit of neck relief, not too bad. Nothing major. So that's not sitting on there correctly. Those are all right. All right, right. We'll just have a quick look at the action at this end. So it's too high at the moment. So we'll take this down. So I think I'll just, the way I'm feeling right now, having messed about for quite a while with that nut business, I'm just going to get this roughly where I want it to start with, and then we'll do some leveling and probably call that quits for tonight. Now I'm going to assume that this thing can do as well as any guitar when the frets are leveled, but we may find that this is over optimistic. Okay, so we got 1.2 and about 1.5, which is the normal state of play. We've got a really low action up here at the nut for the time being. A 3 grub screw nut may not be permanent on there, but for the time being it'll do for this task. And away we go to do some leveling. And let's see what we've got. Sorry it's been such a disjointed thing, but I got to the point where I was having to think, and I couldn't think and talk at the same time. I couldn't do anything at the same time. I am feeling a little bit on the preoccupied side of things at the moment. So let's move things out of the way, and we'll see what the leveling beam tells us about the state of the frets on here. High first fret for starters. See what we get afterwards. Okay, we've obviously got some high frets in here. The thing to do is to get on and play them, and I'll see what it does. Ninth, 17th, sorry, 11th, 11th, 17th. Not bad. We'll just give that another go around this area here. I think what we've got is a low fret on that area there. For all I know, we don't know what the metal that these frets are made of is. We've definitely got a low fret at 12 anyway, so that may not be making things very good around there. Eleven's low right on the edge. 11's low right on the edge, so it's making 12 seem slightly high, so I'm just going to concentrate on those couple of frets on the outside edge here. I think that should do it. Definitely low on the 11th fret, but that means we've got to take 12 down. What I'll do is I'll go across to the B track, and we'll do that. Now what we'll look out for in a minute, once I've levelled the B and the G track, or as I'm levelling the B, once I've levelled the B, I'll try some bends on the high E, and what we're kind of looking for is that we can, see there's a couple of low ones here. We're looking to make sure we can do the bends. We want all the individual notes to play properly, but we also want the bends to play. It's a bit of a rough neck. 12 is low. Ouch. Oochie coochie. So that's a little low pile there. We'll work on that at the top end. We've definitely got a low area here. There's no doubt about it. It's cutting here. Yeah, that's the B track. Let's see. So we're choking out on the G track, which we'll now calibrate for. It's kind of to be expected. I'm going to make this as good as it can be, but we don't know what the limits are to that. It's already taken me a few extra whiles to get this going, but we shall see. So the idea now being is that we should, if we're able to level this out, what we should hear is the choked out bend going across into that G track. We should be able to hear it freeing up, although we have got a low patch of frets here at the point where neck joins the body, which aren't playing ball. So first of all we check for the individual notes. Oh, so that's a dead one. So these two are low, and we're falling into that hole there. Also, unfortunately, I think I've got a horrible feeling that the radius of this neck might not even be 12 inches, in which case the bridge doesn't work very well with it, nor does the replacement bridge, because it will be a 12-inch radius. Yeah, I think that's what we've got here. I think we've got a 9.5-inch radius neck. That's blastedly annoying. Let's just double check this. I mean, this is, oh God. Yeah, anyone watches this, they're going to be going, it serves you right for going anywhere near a AliExpress guitar. And they sort of, there's some truth to that. Well, as far as I can see, that's supposed to be a 12-inch radius. But how would you know? And what this is, I won't know until a bit later on, but well, I have to tell you, that G is not going to play ball with us, I'm afraid. We're not going to have a very low action on this guitar. It's a show guitar, damn it. Let's get that in the right track. It's just, it's a little difficult for me. I don't like to be defeated by a mismatch of guitar parts. And I'm afraid what you don't get is if you've got a neck that's ready made to, let's say the neck's set at 9.5 inches, but your bridge is set to 12, then you can't really find a tunematic bridge at the 9.5, because they tend to be 12. So I think I'm just going to get as far as I can and then give up. Hopeless. It's a big hole. It's in a hole. I'm going to end up seeing it if I look at it. I know it's going to make me cringe. Do you know what? I'm about to switch this off and just not do it off camera. You know, the reason why is I'm going to get so much abuse for doing this, and quite frankly, I can do without it. I don't need to be told that this is Chinese shit and I shouldn't be wasting my time or my customers' time. You know, my customer has bought this and they're doing what they want with it, not what you want with it, sort of thing. You know, but it's pretty depressing that it is such a bad state. But I don't want to give him that bad feeling about it, to be honest. I just want it to play as well as I can make it play, given the constraints we've got. That's terrible, that G. before that one, one before that one, one before that one, one before that one. One for that one. That's all I can do. I can hope that it will fucking get there, but crap, man. Crap, man. Absolute crap. Diabolical. Oh, why am I doing this? It's Saturday night. I'm fighting with Chinese shite. Saturday night's alright, alright. Saturday night's alright for Chinese shite. Ooh, 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 ooh. What the hell? 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 Ish. Chinese crap. You are coming off. You are coming off. That's you. Probably end up being better to paint this little speck of removed finish than it is to try and glue a bit back on. We shall see, but gluing amazingly never goes back on with a nice neat boundary thing. It's always a mess. Right. Now I suppose I could stick with it and make myself get everything as much done as possible. Could do. Off you come. Out you come. All these various bits that need changing out. So I don't know whether I will be able to remove these. There's a wire going through there which is likely either it's going to break or it's not going to break, depending on how I pull it out. So that's a bridge ground. Difficult to get another one back in. So I think we probably will probably end up just replacing the top bits, unfortunately. Well, we shall see. So gold stuff over here. Got the state of my hands. I'm going to need to wash those. That's going to need to be replaced with some fresh stuff. Right, what am I taking off? So I guess we're going to take off this horrible plastic shite because they're shite anyway. We're going to need to remove those. This switch is going to come off. All of that's going to come off. Replaced with chrome ones. We'll take the plastic off everything as we go, I think. What I didn't buy was extra screws. So yeah, I don't think we'll be able to get rid of these studs, unfortunately, because they are what they are. I suppose what I'll do right now is just wipe off some of this here dust, because it's a bleeding mess. Also the frets are sharp, so I'm going to need to work on those as well. What am I looking for? I'm going to need to use this and this. Yeah, lots of work, I'm afraid. So that. So yeah, we've got fret ends to do, and we've got recrowning to do here now, after having done the fret leveling as good as I can get it for the state of affairs this set of frets are in, which isn't terrific. So we'll do what we can. Meanwhile, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? Whoa, 20 to 9. I dare. I'm so scared of putting the bleeding news on at the moment. It's terrible, isn't it? Sorry, this is the worst camera shot in the world. But here we are, a little bit of difference. Junior, medium frets, right. We'll go over the top of these, and it will show up fairly quickly which parts of the frets have been heavily worked. None of it's so much work that it's done any major flattening, but for my liking it's more than I would have liked to have done, and some of we're moving pretty quickly across it, so there's not a huge amount, but I mean, what I don't like is the fact that even having done leveling, some of the frets aren't, I can't make them play at the ideal target action, but in a way that's going to end up being one of the least of our worries if we can get the rest of it playing. I mean, the mismatch in the radius, I've seen it on lots of guitars where the neck radius wanders away from what it's supposed to be, and then the bridge is a cheap component, and that's miles off what it's supposed to be as well. So you see that the G track has been leveled quite hard to get these, try and bottom out some of these problems up here. But still, I may never show this video, simple as that, because actually what does any of it matter now anyway? Whoops, I've missed one. Yeah, this is the I'll do the video that I probably wouldn't dare post because it's probably far too negative and depressing and scared and worried. But that is how I feel at the moment, my dear people. I don't want to look at the news, and it's ridiculous because not looking at the news isn't going to make things not happen. Oh. Not in the slightest. But a part of me sort of was almost behaving as if it will, which is nonsense. Anyway, so we've also got some tuners to get shot of and get rid of these before they make me feel depressed as well. These cheap golden horrors. They're practically falling off anyway. So we've recrowned the frets for a minute. Let's get the thing and pull all of those tuners off so we can replace them. You notice it's getting dusty and mucky around here. Tough. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I'm sitting here in this workshop and it's cold and it's dark outside and it's raining and it's miserable weather and stuff, and then I'm just thinking, but you know what? I'm not underneath artillery or rocket fire or walking scared to death, walking through the countryside looking for somewhere safe to be. So, you know, I just feel so incredibly lucky, even at the same time as I feel so incredibly unlucky that we're in this situation at all, and that I feel terrible that it's happening to some people already, and I feel terrible that it could just very easily spill over and consume us all. Like we haven't learned a damn thing. I'd love to swear and share how I really feel. Yeah, well. So as it happens, I've got to take all these gold strap buttons off anyway. And so we're going to find out fairly quickly whether or not the buttons come undone easily, or whether they completely mash up the threads in here. Well, whichever it is, we'll find out. It may be that I have to put them back together with some resin. We'll see. We've even got a replacement plate for the back of here, so we can take this off if we're really in the mood for it. In fact, we need to, because we're going to go chrome. Are you kidding me? These have been cut short. They've actually been cut off. Okay, that's because we've got wires coming through here. Oh, careful, careful, laddie. Okay, so this we want to replace this, but we don't want to. Right, let's find the bits that we need. We want to put it back together if we can. So we have to pay close attention to the length of the screws so we don't overdo it, because guess what that means is they're going to go through the, if we aren't careful, they'll go through the thing. So we're going to have to cut these as well. Why is that? Let's put this back in place. Need to pull those through a bit. Let's just put this down for a minute. Stay there. We don't want it breaking off. Devils can fit back in there like that. You go back in your little homes like so. You go back in there like that for the time being. Right, so I'm just going to tag two of these back in for a minute. And then I'm going to just check. We go through up to here. Oh yeah, it's going to be way too long. Right, chopping time, I guess. Follow the... okay, so these are much thicker than the replacement ones I've got, so I'm going to have to go and have a look for some alternatives. Neck plates, and then... No, neck screws, neck screws, chrome ones. Let's see what we've got. We've got some big chunky ones, blimey. They are hugely chunky, short and chunky. Might actually work better than the ones I've got there. I'm struggling to pick them up. About the right size, actually. The question is, the hole is probably too big. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's no good. We may have to give up. Settle for some chrome gold ones for the time being. Let's see if we can find some others. Not so brilliant, but wow, those don't feel like they actually want to go in. Not connected? Yes. Not that big, are they? Where do they go down to? About halfway. Okay. Right, so just while I'm doing this, a set of those which are too narrow, I think, to go. They wouldn't bite very well. It's a shame. Finding different sizes of neck screws is something of a pain. So that isn't one. So we've got these. We could enlarge things, and these are fatter and chunkier, but they are very chunky. So maybe we'll just perhaps live with the gold for the time being until I can possibly find something else. Okay. Yeah. Put them back in there. Okay, so right, so we're going to get rid of the gold pickups in a second. Here go more scratch plate screws. And to be honest, I guess from the back, if we've got some gold in there, we end up having to keep some more gold. But we shall see. Okay, you go over there. Right, so we have got to get out, pull out some things. There's the switch. What have we got? We've got pickup coming through here. Pickup coming through here goes to there. So that's one pickup. So bridge pickup. Bridge pickup is here. Bridge pickup is there, I believe. So let's undo neck pickup now. Neck pickup is, I believe, a different colour. Bridge pickup comes in and goes to, actually goes to, wow, where does that go? Double. Okay, that's how it's done it. So bridge pickup goes into the middle. Bridge pickup goes into the middle, goes to the middle. That one goes to the middle. No. What's what here? This don't make no sense. It's like they've wired these two pots slightly differently from each other. So, theoretically, should we be able to remove that straight away? Yep, out comes bridge. Good. So, here is bridge. I see, thank you. Lots of different kinds of fixings. Hooray. Cream and yellow and blue and cream. So that one's going to go through there. Now what we're saying is the yellow one, the thick yellow one coming through here, and it's going bizarre. It's going from the out. Bridge. How is this working? It's going from the middle out. Oh, it goes into the first one, not the middle one. Silly boy. So That's going into the first one. So the yellow goes into the first one. There. There we go. Okay. Now what I don't even know that I have or haven't got is, I don't think I've got white, the right colour screws, so I may have to replace them with gold ones and buy some more over the week and change them out, which isn't a big deal. Hard work will have been done. Assuming there is a midweek and everything doesn't go to hell in a handcart. So through we go with these little devils. Why, thank you. That's right, that's right. We'll put these back on for now. Saturday night's alright, alright. Come on. Patience wearing thin. That's what Chinese guitars do for you. No, that's what AliExpress guitars do for you. They make your patience run thin and your blood run cold. Stay. That's the neck, ladies and gentlemen. And the neck is coming through the passageway. Come on, neck. Where are you, red neck? And we need a pliers. Whatever these are, pincers. Very good. So that's the neck. Yaw. So the neck comes in here, in the place of the yellow, and we're going to need to hook it up. But it's a bit on the untidy side. Really, it is. Let's see. Okay. A bit untidy. How am I going to get that to fit on there? Ugh. That's off there, hats off there, hats off there. So let's turn this on. Power on. Power on. Why am I doing this now? I suppose I am because I'm just going to go until the things run out. That's bound to run out any minute. Do you want to come and have a penguin's eye view? Come on then, let's have some solder on you. Pour some solder on you, babe. We want this to have some solder on it too, but very hard to get any on there because I'm going to try and blob this on. Here. Right, let's cut this short. Yeah, so getting in here to put anything together is actually very difficult. I'm going to have to kind of clear a bit of way through the trees, I'm afraid. Out the way, out the way. We'll come back and tidy things up later. Tidy things or tie things? Either way. Right, so I need a blob of solder on here. And I think for that I'm going to need the helping hands of Harry Houdini. Come on now, come on now, come on now. Thank you. Give me a blob for making a good connection. It doesn't want to do it. Ah. No, it's absolutely not wanting to do it. Happy enough to drop solder onto here. Right, so that's not going to make a big blob of solder. It doesn't want to play ball with me, so I'm going to have to try and do it without, which doesn't give me a lot of room to get in there. I don't like attaching things to the outside of things, but there are certain situations like that where you have no choice because it just will not do it any other way. Right, trying to keep various things out of the way so things don't melt. There you go. That's that attached. And we'll do the same. We'll remove this one down here on the first lug, and then here, and then we'll push this through. You know, when you're working with little bits of stiff, non-bendy wire, it can drive you bonkers. I tell you, it really can. And you try and grab it through here and you go, where have you gone, my friend? And you've got to pull it somehow up through all this stuff. And it wants to bend, and it's hooked up to everything already. How? Right, you get that out there, and you need 4 more of thems. I don't know where they've all gone now. There you go, there's 2, and there's 3 and 4. Well, I will look out. Oh, sorry, you can't see anything. Well, you can, but it's clear and it's invisible. That's the problem. You in? You on? You in? You on? You in? You on? Good. Okay, so there's the pickups in place. Got a mile of wire. We really don't need this much wire. All that happens when you have this much wire is you end up messing about trying to coil it up somewhere, so we don't need it. We don't need it. So I'm going to go cut, 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 fling, and on we go. Da, 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 da. Okay, so these types of pickups are very straightforward to do. I wish I could just put that somewhere where I could actually work on it. Thank you. Yeah, it's, you know, single, straightforward 2-wire pickups with a hot wire and a cold wire. No, hot wire and a ground. Easy to work on. You can hear that rain coming down outside. Have to get out in that shortly. Okay, so we know where we're going. We are going to this unit here with this one. And then the top of this one here. This one. Like so. Well, I'd say like so if I could even so much as get it pointing down at the right place with the soldering iron. It's a little bit tricky. Thank you. Right, that's all good, that's all good, that's all good. That is all good. Now, of course, we have another thing to do now. Holy cow, what have they got connected up here? Jack socket output, right, that's all okay-ish. Okay, stuff out the way there. So now we're going to remove the switch and we're going to replace it with a chrome one, aren't we? Balls. So similar style, or very similar style, shouldn't be a problem. This one has a knurled thing, knurled ring, so we're going to remove this one and we're just going to make sure we know what goes where. So these wires are all nicely done together, so if I can perhaps cut that off there, we might be able to just reuse that. And I want to go, I'm going to make some marks just for my purpose. I'm going to go, top will be 1, you heard me say it, middle will be 2, and the bottom nearest me will be 3. There you go. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to get my little undoer, and we're going to move these, and we're going to undo the sorry, bad view. I'm going to undo this using this, undo that. Okay, that can sit down there like that, out the way, gold things. So here we have the switch, and I'm going to unhook all of these one by one. I hope. I should have done that while they were still attached. Ah, silly boy. 1, 2, 3. Number 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom. So those are together. Good, well, fine. And what we need is a load of solder on this bit here, unless it will go through. Do we think it will go through? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Probably best to have some solder piled up on there, ready to do the job. So let's get that done first. Oh, come on, useless. So this is quite difficult to do because the heat, this is a very big heat sink in some ways, these switches. They shed the heat very quickly, and it's very difficult to load up much solder. That's as good as I can get. Yep, fair bit on there. Right, so we can either put it back in here like so. Yes, we'll do that. We'll put it back in there. We'll put this on and do it up. We'll see if there's a cream, what's it, switch tip to go with the pickup surrounds, rings. Get this straight. Straight, no. Oh, get off. Let's put that there. Alright, that's there. So, tricky bit to start with is to double back and get this earth on. We want to get it with as little overlap as possible. So, stay there. Don't know how well that's grabbed that. We shall see. Yep, looks okay. Then we go 1, 2 and 3. So 1 is up there, thank you. Poke 1 through. If we have to bend this a little bit further out, we may do that. Very little room to swing a cat in here. Okay, so there's the first one. Sorry, rubbish view again. I probably won't publish this anyway. Upload, I think is the word I mean, more than publish. Same thing. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is the output in the middle. We want to push that across the 2 little bits, like so. Right, that's the output, and the final one is the other side, which will bend out as well to keep it as far as possible away from the middle one, and actually we can bring the wire in the other side. This looks okay. That's a bit too close to the other one for my liking, so we will encourage it to poke through. That's alright. So, as far as I am concerned, we are done. Let's put this back on, keep things tidy and out of trouble. And we'll stick with these colours for the time being, because I think it's just easier to move on. Okay, so we've leveled the frets, we have changed over the pickups, we have changed the what's one thing we haven't changed? There's that actually it's really only needs to be the socket around the edge that changes on that. So if we've got such a thing, I don't know if I did, but we'll probably just find, right, we'll find a socket to replace it. That's fine. So yeah, I can't get rid of the bridge studs really, because they may not come out without splitting the resin or acrylic or whatever it is. Some things behave differently than wood. With wood, I tend to be able to lever those out and they seem to behave, but not in this case, so I'm not going to take the risk. So I'm going to find me an extra nut to go on this thing here. That's going to do the job. That isn't a golden one, so I think this should be that should be a good. That's too. Don't tell me, you Chinese people, what are you doing to me? Could take the back off and do it just as easily, but I've just done the back up, so I'm going to attempt to hold this in place and do it this way. Let's just do this the right way, Sam. You bleeding fool. I think I probably need to open the back up to do this. I've been an idiot. So we need a washer as well for starters. Whether we got one that size or not? Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Well, there's one that's sort of big. There's one. That'll do. Right. Wrong size. Blimey. Not more like it. Any chance of going on without having to take the back off? I don't think so, you know. I think it's going to make a monkey out of me. No, bollocks. Sorry, that was a pain. Wasting my time and yours. Stupid. Well, at least today I have got clear about the brief for Adam's next build, which I can draw up later on. And yes, of course, what you don't want to do with this slightly delicate jack socket is have it wandering around, moving around. So let's just get this on and tightened up, would we? Thank you very much. See, look, so much easier. And then just put that on there and turn it. Ah, now that was interesting. A little flake has come out of there. So that's the second. They're little pieces of rubber actually. So I'm going to put that back in there because we know that there's a few of those that are going to try and fall out over time. Right, let's go back and put these back in. It's a good idea to have little pads of spongy stuff, hold it down, but not if they fall off. Like one's already done, obviously, but okay. As long as I never take it off again, it won't lose any more. Right, so now we've got new tuners put on. Behave. New tuners. Get the washers away. The good thing about having boxes of bits like this is this is what I do in my insane quiet times, and I can just spend quality time sorting things out. When I got my boxes full of leftovers and I go through them all and choose bits that work and bits that I should keep and the bits that I need to file away in these little boxes. Very handy. Okay, so what I don't think is, I don't know, I might have a cream tip. I have a few tips here. Let's check them out and see. Not too many of them are Les Paul style, but this one might be. I've got one, possibly two, depending on the size of the thing. Oh yeah, look at that. We are a go-go. I know we've got, well, we're going to have silver coloured pots, knobs in a minute. Get them all done. So, okay, so that's that. Let's go with, we've got knobs, let's go with strap buttons. Now this is where we're going to find out whether, I don't know what you can see and what you can't. We're going to find out now whether these will work in here, whether they're too large. Ooh, worrying. See, now with wood you could put that in, but with this you may get a sheared off thing. So I'm going to have to look for some straps, button screws. Is there such a thing? Strap buttons. Strap button screws. Let's see if there's anything in here that's going to get me out of trouble, because those are too big. Okay, here's a couple of smaller ones in chrome. Yeah? Yes, it's not quite the same, but they are a start. And then there's this one, which is the same as one of these. That one and that one. Okay, let's see. Let's see, that should work. So it's that one and that one, plus that one and that one. And the rest can go in there. Get in there, get in there, get in there. Right, let's do up. It's difficult. It's not as good as it could be. Now, here's the challenge. I'm going to need to get one in the end of here. It's going to require a drill and I wonder if we need some resin in here to just lock this in place, because it's no good having this come undone at any time, and that wants to turn. It's not going to fall out, but it still has a bit of turn in it. So I'm going to need to make a spot on here to drill. So how are we going to do that? Any thoughts? Well, we can't really take the neck off because of the wiring, so that's going to could make that a little bit more challenging. Crap, old strings can go in the bin. So we need a flat spot. If we're going to put it right on the end, which tends to be the good place, we need a flat spot to go in. Flat spot to go in there, and it's got to go in at this angle. So we may still have to somehow remove the neck. So we need a flat spot, and that's going to have to be carved, and it's got to be wide enough to fit. I'm sorry, you can't see. This camera's awful. It's got to be wide enough to fit this. So I'm going to make a mark. What am I going to make a mark with? I'm going to make a mark with the thinnest pen I've got to begin with. Yeah, I mean, if this doesn't have the strap button in the right place, it's going to be unplayable, and that's the real problem. Okay, so there's my flat space required, and I'm going to need to cut that with some sort of file. What I'll do is, before it wipes off, I'm going to mark it in marker pen. So that's going to require flattening. That hole's going to stay there. And I think what I might end up doing with this one is I may just try out resining it in. So the first thing I've got to do is I've got to file it. And to do it, file it, I should probably start with, try that one. Let's have a little go. I don't know what you can see, but see how easy it is to get a little flat spot developed. So probably I would ideally want to put a little notch in it first, so that I can sort of work my way along it. Let's get this a minute. Yes, that's right. Stay there. So I'm just gonna cut this, or try and just very gently make a line there. I can work to, and one there. There we go. That's just my marker point. And then this is actually quite difficult to do because we're doing a flat surface. it's working. I just wonder whether I should, I probably would be better off using a spinning thing. One of these, one of these. Well, it would be if I didn't chuck it on the floor and try and break it. You come off there. I'm cack-fisted. That's what I really am. And what you can see now, absolutely nothing. This has got a burned out Dremel sanding drum on it, so that's not going to be good for anyone. Alright, so here we go. So what I want to do is this. Yes. I mean that's working. Still, it's not quite enough to get a drill bit in, which I'm going to have to take it off for that purpose anyway, but we can do a bit more. Nearly there. And of course we can do a bit more of this. Yep. Smooth it out nicely. Okie dokie. And that will sit in there nicely. So we do need the neck off for that bit. I don't think we can get in there with any regular drill. We certainly can't get in there, not without going at an angle. Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think? Do you think we should do it now? Well, if we should, we need to know, first things first, is we need to know a drill bit that will suit this. And we know that this diameter of this is 2.9, so it's 3. And we don't want anything anywhere near that, but it can't be too small, so that's 2.4. 2.45 would probably be just enough to cut a thread in it. So it doesn't leave a lot of room, but then we might go with some resin at the same time. So to get that to work, we have to, we'll use this other Dremel, I think, and we'll fit this in. This is a metal bit, and I don't know what it will do to perspex. No, that's stuff, resin, but we shall see. So this is all unplugged at the moment. So we get this over here. I think you can switch off now. You've done your business. So we want to get a bit, we want a mark on here for a start. A central mark there. And really what we want is, I suppose we'll have to get the neck off out of the way, but we don't really want too much flapping around. So we'll try to limit it. So, down you go to there, and probably gently put you behind there. Good. So, in the very short term, I will get me a very small drill bit, and this. In fact, we could probably just use this just as effectively. And we want to go in here at that. Now we'll change our bit for this. So this can hang back up, so we won't use it. So this is 2.5, isn't it? And what we don't know is exactly how the 2.5 hole will behave. We know the thing will go in fairly easily because it's quite a big hole. So that would probably make it work okay. Let's see, where are we? Let's try. Gotta find where we were. Oh, it's impossible to see from this angle where I'm going. Right, so it's the question is, how well does that fit? Pretty well. And the question is, do you think it will work? If it's too big, if we got it wrong, if it's too big, it will split, and that will be me crying. Now the question is, will it go in, and will it need some resin? Let's find out. That feels all right to me. These then back in place, my dears. In you go. 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 Should be all right. Interesting. This isn't sitting against a back of a neck pocket. It's sitting against the pickups around, so it often you have to sort of let them locate when you have a guitar like that, because they'll sort of put the neck back where it needs to be. There you go. Wow, that's going to be cool. Look at that. It's in the right place finally. Now what that means is the first test that I want to do, which is now, that seems like hours ago. It was hours ago. Let's check the time. Time to go home. It's 9:30. First thing I want to check is how this balances now, because this guitar has got to be playable. So it's heavy enough as it is, but we've got these massive great strap buttons on here now, and I want this to work. Oh yes, that's it. Finally. Yes. That's gone from being unplayable to playable. Good. I think I may thank my lucky stars that I'm not as smart as I like to think I are. Remember that? Dean Friedman. And you can thank your lucky stars that you're not as smart as you'd like to think you are. Found him on Twitter once, not long back. He's had an exchange with him. He seems quite a nice chap. Right, I'm going to put a bit of extra boost onto these to make sure they don't go anywhere. Right. Okay. What we haven't just quickly checked is our. Oh! I seem to have lost my thingy. Oh! My knob remover. First, my knob remover. Bugger. I've lost my knob remover, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to have to use my fingers, use my arms, use my thumb, use my imagination. Whoa, ooh. Gonna make you sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. There's nobody else here. No one but me. I'm special. Put these things in, every one of them, in a little bag. I can't be bothered. Big bags, yes, they're useful. Little bags like this, no. I said, oi, China, no. Right, oh, well, these are silvery by the light of this. These are sharp. Better fit on all right. I know the gold's still there, I know, it's not brilliant, but... God, these don't want to fit very well. And what I don't want to do is end up busting the pots. Nobody wants to bust the pots, frankly. You buy these things and then they don't fit, and then you press too hard and then bingo! The whole thing snaps off. So they're not really meant to sit that low anyway. That's how it is. Right, there we go. Silver. Silver. You can actually get silver pickup surrounds. Shouldn't have said that because he's going to want them. Right, I think it is time to go really. Right, yeah. What are we going to do? We've done the recrowning. That's that bit done. Let us just wipe off some of this goop. And then I'll hang this out of the way and we can call it done for the time being. Just wanted to sort of get some of the grime, grunge. Oh yeah, we got we've got the ends of the frets to file. I suddenly had a horrible thought that I was going to be doing this and the colour would come off the fingerboard and be left with sort of light coloured wood. So this needs, obviously, the frets need polishing and sanding out, but not before I've done the ends of them. So I've got a bit of a tidy up to do here, as you can see. But at least I got a bit further than I thought I was going to get. And the good old disaster. I suppose, yes, the thing to just check would be make sure that the pickups work. Actually, it's running out of room. Pickups, do your work. Jack socket here. Hurrah! Very good. Nothing too complicated about that. So we're sort of doing all right. We got rid of most of the gold, and we won't see the other bits of gold afterwards because I get rid of that underneath the bridge posts. Down Paradise Way or something. So we've got tuners here, which you might as well put on while I'm still in the mood. Must do the fret ends, he says, reminding himself yet again. Tuners. Bits, and all of that gold stuff is going to go in the bin, methinks. It should deserve to go in the bin. So now, here we have, well, this is another reason why it was so important to upgrade, to reposition that thing that's called the neck thing. You know what I mean. Oh my god, not the neck thing, the strap button, because we're going to add some weight here with tuners, and frankly that would make the situation even worse. I'm not entirely convinced by this colour shine stuff that Stu Mac seems to swear by. It doesn't seem as good as some of the other things I've used, but you never know. scratch remover. And this finish is not very well done anyway. It's just a little bit dull at the best of times. But that's AliExpress for you. Okay. Right, so now we have quality 19:1 ratio tuners, which will make tuning the whole thing much simpler, or much more direct and positive. That's what it's all about. I bought 3 aside. I know I bought 3 aside. When you, I don't know about you, but when you get 2 of the same kind go on straight away, the first thing that happens to me is I think, oh no, I bought 6 in line, because they're all, then you get one that goes on the other side and you go, no, it's definitely 2 sets of 3. Thank God for that. Because it would be an absolute pain to end up with another spare set of tuners for getting the wrong thing. So these are Wilkinson tuners with a 19:1 tuner ratio, and this, for some reason this one doesn't seem to want to go on very easily. There. Yeah, 19:1, so it's a good smooth tuning experience. People often think that if they've got tuning problems, tuning stability problems, they often think they should go and replace their tuners, and actually it's a misconception. The tuners play almost no part. I would go as far as to say practically no part in tuning stability. That's achieved by your nut and the slack in your strings. The tuners, they play a very large part in whether it feels smooth and precise and a direct gearing and so on, but they don't play any real part in the tuning stability. Even the cheapest tuners, the sort of pressed metal ones, will hold your strings in tune. They won't go backwards and unwind, for example. This one's got a bit of a grungy thread on it too that was taking a bit of a fight. Yeah, so all you need to be worrying about is sorry, getting the wrong things here. Yeah, your tuners don't play any part in it. Get the nut right and get the slack in the strings removed properly before you start playing, and you won't have any trouble. But I do recommend, if you want to increase or improve the gearing and the look and the materials that your tuners are made of, then definitely worth upgrading them. And even for aesthetic purposes, you might just like the way a different set looks. Well, that's absolutely fine. But be careful not to go after new tuners as a solution to a guitar that won't stay in tune. And funny enough, I've often seen people say, I've changed them and it's really improved it. And I'll bet you it hasn't. I'll bet you it's psychosomatic. I bet people think it has. But I bet you it's actually as poor or unstable as it was before. It's just because nothing about the tuner works, lets the string unwrap, unless you've not wound the string on, or there's too little material on the post or whatever. But it can't wind backwards. Or put it another way, the amount of force required to turn the gears backwards, if it were even possible, would break the string long before. What's wrong with this? Doesn't want to play ball with this. Right, there's your 19:1 in chrome. So it's got a little bit heavier, but not the end of the world. Right, so the one thing I will do now is that before I hang up my spurs for the night, I'm going to redo the ends of these frets because they are sharp. We don't want that. So I'm going to just run over with this fret file, and I'm going to do both sides, and then I'm going to just cut in with the other file just to make sure I get rid of any sharp little burrs. But I think one of the slight problems with this is they are very slanted beveled frets, which is not really what you want. You usually want as much playing width as you can get your hands on, or your fingers on. And very slanted beveling robs you of that. I can't tell if you've got... Oh, that was my funny bone. Yes, you've got a view of sorts. And I'm going to hold on to this and come back the other way. What a stupid place to put the strap button though, guys, in the AliExpress factory. Completely make the guitar unplayable in one fell swoop. You know, even just testing it out earlier on, I was tired out just holding it up to even try and play a note on it, which is a completely stupid situation to be in. You really don't want that. And that's the tiredness. I mean, you often don't notice it if you're in a music shop or if a mate's house trying out the guitar and you think it's brilliant. But you go down to a practice with your band and you stand up for 3 hours or something, and then notice how much time, how much energy you've lost holding the guitar up because it's tipping over and you can't keep it from tipping over. It's mad. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go down the edge of this fretboard with some 220 grit sandpaper, and then when I polish out the frets tomorrow, I'll also make sure I do all the ends, include them in the sort of general sanding regime, which means that they will soften off. So wherever there's a bit of scraping like this, they'll get rounded off with the sandpaper. That's the idea anyway. Because even at this level, you know, any mark with the file is sharp, and it's a rough thing. So very easy to create a burr just by running the file like this. Okay, so there's that bit, and then what I would use, if I can find some 220, a little bit, 240, that's what I want, a bit of 240, and this will be probably my last thing for the day. So a bit of 240, and I'm going to just start by going down the edge, and that rounds off a little bit. Takes a little bit of the finish, not finish, a little bit of the binding. So you have to, you have to be aware that that's going to cut up a little bit, and I'm taking just down to where it meets the pickup, and then I'll lean in over the edge, and just try and let my finger kind of bounce up and down a little bit on the fret ends, and just soften them off. So that's the sort of, let's get rid of some of the nasty made in China sharpness. And I'm going to go down here in the same way, right on the edge, get rid of any burrs at all, and then over on top of the frets a little bit, or on an angle. There you go. So that should be probably enough for the 240 grit. Okay, and then we'll be ready for taking doing the rest of this tomorrow. We're not that far off. I'm going to take the risk of hanging this on a low down one down here, because if it should for some reason pull the thing right out of the wall with its mega, Actually, no, I'll put it in this case. That's what I'll do. But yeah, there we are. And that's it for tonight. Whew. Big tidy up tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. My dear ladies and gentlemen, we are at the point of fitting new strings. I'm going to go down this end, the usual sort of view down this end. I've put the nut on, the adjustable one on, which will keep on. I have ordered a solid one, which I may look at later in the week to see whether I prefer it. But right now, I'm going to load up and lock and load and play on the ones we've got. So first of all, I'm going to put the middle strings on. I had to drill out the bridge post holes, the holes on the bridge, in order to get this to fit, because the bridge posts are slightly wrongly positioned on this damnable excrescent guitar. Anyway, so let me just put this on here, put those on the thing. Yeah, so yeah, we had to adjust that to make it work. Otherwise, it just tightens up and it won't go on. Simple as that. It only takes a fraction of a millimeter for that to go wrong, and for the bridge to just completely seize up. So sometimes it can be because the posts are leaning a tiny little bit. If the holes for the bushings aren't, what's the word, vertical, completely vertical, sometimes that causes it. Other times it's just badly drilled and it's a millimeter or something, or half a millimeter off, and they're totally unforgiving, so you don't have any leeway at all. So here we go. I'm putting on these strings over the saddles. Pull all the way through, pull back one and wind on. So these are easy lock tuners, but I never use the easy lock part. I prefer this. I use them just because I like the 19:1 ratio and they're good quality. But I string them as per normal. Now these are currently nearly touching the first fret. So the first thing I'll do is I need to raise up the bridge to somewhere more. Oh no, it's not going to work, is it? It's down the hole. This did work out before in terms of action, so I hope we aren't going to run out of action. So first thing I'll do is I'll just bring up the bridge, the nut, that's the word I'm looking for, a little bit. I'm just going to go up equally on all of these what's-its. Okay, that's now a bit too high. Get in there. Problem with this, if you don't get them all at the same height, if you've got three and you don't get them at the same height, you put pressure on one of them. So it sounds like a good idea until you realize that. Anyway, so yeah, so I had to drill the bridge holes, which then just made them a little bit wider basically, and then they fit on okay. Everything else that's possible to change from silver to gold has been changed, and so we are ready to string up, stretch out, intonate, and have a listen and a play. And that will be done. And I've got another guitar to do for David tonight, and that is the Blue Rally GL300. So he's become a bit of an instant rally collector. It's all my fault for singing their praises and showing him how good they are with the first one I got for him, which was bleeding beautiful. Anyway, so now he's the collector, and I'm the wishing I had one for myself, which isn't strictly true because I have more than enough guitars to go round. I don't need any more, and it would just be pointless greed and possessiveness. So yeah, I'm being very restrained. Okay, and now the top two strings. So the funny thing is, I forgot to measure the string, the radius of the neck on this, and then I just realized, well, actually there's no point anyway, because I can't do anything about it. If it's mismatched or if it's odd and it doesn't fit with any known bridge, then we aren't really going to get anywhere by knowing that. It's barely going to show up except down at the bridge end. Spare bits. Got a Zoom call I've got to do in 5-10 minutes. Okay, so on we go with the B. This finish on the headstock is a bit poor. It's a bit naff, but it's not the end of the world, but it's not as good as you'd hope. It's just a little bit dull and a little bit rushed by the looks of it, factory rushed. Right, i.e. well, hopefully now we'll get to have a listen to the difference in the tone. The other thing I will do on here is I will paint in a little bit of black, or I'll get a bit of black glue boost fill and finish into that little chip off there, and we'll just tidy that up. Okay, so here we are, all restrung, everything chrome versus the gold it used to be. Get that on the roller saddle. Right, throw the bits away, and then shortly it'll be time for a cup of cha, and then a Zoom call, and then the second guitar. So the first thing I'm going to just do is stretch out just about. So then I will go up to tune, up to pitch first off. Okay, so this end's a bit high, so we'll take this down a bit with the help of both inner and outer screw. Okay, so I'm now going to do a bit of stretching. See what we can see. Oh yeah. Everything has swapped over. The only problems we've had is the screws in the little battery compartment at the back. One of them has sheared in the hole, and another one has pulled a chunk of acrylic off the inside. Not that you can't see it from outside, but it's just the screw was a fraction too big. Sounds terrible. Do some more stretching, and then we'll plug it in and intonate it. Well, we'll check the intonation. I think it should be spot on since we've already done it once, but these are new strings, so we will do the checking. These are 9-gauge strings. Okay, we did check the intonation before, based on the old strings and based on the old bridge. Sorry about that. So we'll see what we've got going on. Lift it up. Come on, stand by. Better, better. Let's play it on this little amp for fun. Let's play it on the old, that thing, whatever it's called. So now we've got a balanced SG. Balanced SG, pretty much stretched strings. Everything changed to chrome and made playable with a good fret leveling and a replacement bridge to sort out the difference or the problem with the scale length. So let's have a look-see. Clean. We are fraction the action's a fraction higher than I would like, but the problem is I don't want to shim the neck to change it. Pickups are miles away at the moment from the strings, so we do probably need to bring them up a bit. I just realised that these pickup surrounds are actually the curved ones, but it's not so bad. We've put them on here. We can live with that. Okay. It's actually quite dark sounding. just about. Interesting. What we got? Rectifier. Whoop, blow the hell out of the speaker. Oh, that's my alarm. Sorry, alarm clock going off. Ah! How do I get rid of it? Oh, something like that. That's blown up my video. Gosh. Blown up the video. It's typical, isn't it? Yeah, kind of quite a bit of a wobble on the neck there. There's only so much bite in there with the screws we can get, but there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, and of course the bit that makes all the difference. Doo-doo. Yeah, so feeling on this, well, it's as good as it can be, I'm afraid. It's not brilliant to start with, but it'll do the business, and I will have a play on it at home. I will see if there's any improvement I can make on this neck. I mean, I think these neck bolts are done up as far as they will go. It could be that the bendiness is purely, I missed that altogether. The bendiness could be purely a problem as far as the thinness of the neck goes, the maple. So yeah, that's as tight as it will go. There we have it. That's going in the bag. See you later. Thanks for watching.